all of the cancer treatments and the costs and deductibles associated with that are paid for inside of 3 months. This is coming from a lady that shared this with us privately, so I'm keeping her identity anonymous. But in one of the private groups that I'm in for one of the home business industries. And so the reason I wanted to share this with you is because this is going to be all of us at one point or several points during our entire lives. Shit happens. The big reason people think about starting a home business is because we want more options and more freedom, which is great. That's a huge driving force, but you're missing out on something else that's perhaps more important than those wonderful things that are already so wonderful. And that is what happens if there's a cancer diagnosis or some other life emergency, whether it's you or somebody close in your family. Stuff like that is going to happen probably a few times throughout the course of your life because that's just part of life. And you're either going to do the work now to be positioned in a way where you're ready for it, or you're not. And so this lady that shared this incredible, really incredible story, she had started doing the work inside of her own home business to be prepared for it so that she can handle it. And it was her mom that was diagnosed with cancer, and they're able to keep up with all the costs associated with that because she got into a home business point blank, and she can also be there. And then it made me think of my experience when my dad passed away almost 2 years ago now, and I was able to be there. Those are the most precious moments. I didn't have to run that time by the altar of a gatekeeper who could have said no or yes. I didn't have to do that. I could just be there, and I'm so glad that I was. And I did the work to position myself ahead of time to be able to have that option as well. And when it happens to you, my friend, you're going to be glad you did something so you could be there, or you're going to wish you had. Believe me, you're going to. But unfortunately, the majority of people are in the I wish I had part, because most people are in that position where they can't do that, and they can't get the time, or they have to stress about, oh, am I going to be able to get the time and the money to be able to do what I need to do with this emergency? And most people can't, and it's completely 100% preventable, and it's needless. And there's another friend of mine, think of all these stories, another friend of mine, her grandma died, who raised her, and she was really close to her grandma across the country, and she was able to just purchase a plane ticket, fly out there and be there with her family and honor her grandmother. And she didn't have to check to make sure she has the money. She didn't have to run that time by a gatekeeper that could have said yes or no. And this is another person who had already done the work ahead of time to position herself to be able to have that freedom. So it goes back to it's great to be driven by your goals of I want more options in life, I want more freedom, I want to do this and that. But when you're looking at, gosh, should I get into a home business? You really have to consider the fact that you will be in a point in your life, probably a few times, where you need to be somewhere, and you need to be able to afford something that could be life or death. And you're either going to be able to because you said yes to an opportunity, or you're not because you said no. And then you have to put your stress into a gatekeeper that can say, no, you can't have time off because so-and-so called in sick. We're dealing with a Scotland crew, and whatever the reason may be. Or maybe you just don't make good money, so you're not able to afford something, some medical cost, some dire need. I just don't know what it is. That's the thing. It's a mystery. We don't know when it's going to happen or exactly what it's going to be. We just know that it will happen, and it's going to be something. And you either uh, took advantage of opportunity to be prepared for it, or you're going to be like most people and you didn't. And so what we have in this country today is exhaustion. There's more people that are clinically exhausted and depressed than ever in history because stuff pops up and you didn't do anything to position yourself to be able to handle it when the mystery of the unknown does happen. So that's what I wanted to communicate with this story. It made me think of all these other stories and these important life lessons that, unfortunately, most of you, you'll hear it, it'll go one ear and out the other, and then something happens and you can't do anything. You're not positioned to handle it. And maybe 1 out of 50, maybe 1 out of 100 of you will do something, and you'll just be better positioned. It's still going to be hard to deal with, but at least you'll be able to put your energy and your heart and your focus where it needs to be instead of on time and money and your job and what you're going to do. It's needless to have to do that. So I hope this makes sense. Feel free to share this, and have a great day, everybody. Feel free to comment below with some experiences that you have, or if you want some ideas or some some advice or suggestions, or maybe you have good advice or suggestions, comment whatever you'd like below. Bye for now.